In the grand tapestry of political discourse, a symphony of ideas and ideologies harmoniously coalesces, much like the intricate workings of a clock's gears. Destiny, an intellectual savant navigating the labyrinthine corridors of online debates, has shared his observations on a notable event, the appearance of Hasanabi on the Deprogram podcast, hosted by 3 communist YouTubers.
Did you see that tweet I sent you, Destiny?
Probably. If you sent it to me in DMs, I clicked it, yeah. Which one was it?
The Imager one. The most recent one. I'm sorry, I just thought it was really funny.
A liberation struggle looks like solidarity and victory to the Palestinians. Who is? Oh, never mind. I didn't know why I gave who's tweeting it. God.
Yeah.
Did you watch the clips from their podcast where all 3 of these guys? I'll give some credit to at least the Hakim guy, the tanky dude. Supposedly he's like a doctor or nurse in like Vietnam or some shit. Am I making that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't know what he does, but I know who he is.
Yeah, I'll give him at least, as much as I hate, obviously, him being a literal tanky, I'll give him credit for at least doing something with his life. But God, listening to Hassan and Second Thought all sitting there patting themselves on the back about like, yeah, we're not supposed to do anything. We don't have to contribute at all. We just like do entertainment online. I don't know why people expect us to have, any type of real effect in the world. Oh my God, it was so cringe.
There's a pretty good reason that they're like that though, right?
It's because they're bona fide capitalists.
They'll never admit it, but yeah, they're capitalist realists. Like the Mark Fisher thing, that it's impossible to imagine a world outside of capitalism. Mm-hmm. But then if you notice that about other people, then you're kind of doing it yourself because you kind of need other people to imagine a world outside of capitalism to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And if no one else can, then you're not going to be the one. So I think that's why they do it. They just especially if you're like, you can be like a reformist, like socialist, or like, advocate for fucking unions and workplace democracy and stuff that's actually quite tangible within this world, and just think about, the future, just put it like on the back burner. But if you're like a Marxist, Leninist, Soviet simping, whatever the fuck those guys are, mm-hmm. And your audience is mostly the English speaking world. Mm-hmm. You know full well that you're never going to see, these are the last places in the world you're going to see a revolution happening.
Yeah.
If it did happen, it would probably be shit. Half of them, like fucking Hassan, would probably get executed for some dumb shit that they say on stream, or just like because of some show trial where they got clipped by the other half of revolutionaries. So it's like, just talk about it and make the bank on it instead. Sounds good.
Yeah. One of the, that Slate Star Codex, the Scott Alexander guy?
No.
Oh, never mind. Fuck you. He has a blog. I don't actually know if it was his blog or if it was somebody else, but there's an interesting argument to be made for why liberalism and capitalism are like, obviously it's a bit premature, but like are arguably like some of the last stages of civilization we'll see. And the reason why is because they do a really good job at allowing a wide variety of thoughts and ideas to exist under them. And they do a really good job of like assimilating even critique into the systems. And yeah, it's very interesting that a lot of like the strong socialist critique of capitalism has been so successfully assimilated into capitalism itself. Like there's an extra special irony for Hassan, a millionaire, making even more money selling merchandise saying like we need to bring down capitalism, right? Like there's an extra special twist of irony to Hassan, a multimillionaire, standing on the steps of a $10 million mansion with a shirt that says, landlords should die or like kill the rich or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that type of capitalism's ability to allow, and liberalism largely, its ability to allow so many different types of ideas and thoughts to thrive underneath it, make it really hard, I think, for people that have been in those societies to turn back to things that are more restrictive.
Yeah, but this is the problem I have with like almost every other socialist online. Mm-hmm. And I think I agree with you. Like, the problem is, though, is that I think this is why you get this problem, especially with American socialists, because if you're in the UK and you call yourself a socialist, most of the time that means you support unions and maybe workplace democracy and nationalization of things like water and gas and shit like that. Mm-hmm. That's what it means usually. Mm-hmm. Because we went through like the revisionist period where a lot of socialist parties accepted that after 1918, there's probably not going to be a revolution across the rest of Europe. It's
Sure.
If it did happen, it's probably going to be shit. So let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have these the situation where you get people who are very like rhetorically socialist, or maybe socialist in a kind of like priorities kind of way, workers' rights, labor and capital and all that. But but they're not like trying to change the entire system like with a blueprint, you know. That's why Tony Blair, I think when he was running for Labour leader, they asked him if he was a socialist, and he said yes, you know, in the 90s, which is a very normal thing. Like Labour is like in the UK is like officially the socialist party of the UK, but they're not, you know, like not like but yeah, I just I don't know why that kind of like advocacy doesn't really come back though, because I think you can still explain a difference between that and just calling yourself a social democrat or just being a liberal, like you're because of your priorities. But I don't know why no one does that. Everyone just has to be like, well, it's either socialism or nothing, you know.
Well, because
like,
there's differences between like
in this world, so I'm just gonna
there's differences between like political positions born out of like logical thought or born out of like your conditions that push you towards a certain political ideology versus kind of ones that are more, there's a difference between that and ones that are more kind of like aesthetic. And I would say that if you don't act on your political beliefs at all, I would argue that these are more kind of like an aesthetic political thing than an actual like a real political stance you have. So like conservatives and liberals in the United States, I think they have like real political beliefs. They'll go out and they'll knock on doors, they'll go out and they'll vote, they'll donate money to politicians and stuff. But kind of like the younger crowd, the socialists, one, because they're younger so they don't vote, but then two, like the beginning and the end of all their political activism, it starts and stops online or in school. And that's it. And they don't actually support real candidates. You know, they might get like a hero like Bernie Sanders, but then as soon as he's gone, they give up. So I think that their political beliefs like aren't as real, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if maybe it is. I don't really know if it's as bad in Europe as it is with America. But I just wish that like it must feel so like disempowering though, because if you want to be like, if your social brand of socialism is just like not capitalism, like we have to just change the entire system so that it's actually no longer a capitalist or like a liberal democracy, then you're kind of fucked, and you are going to get quite hopeless and vitriolic and angry and shit like that, because like like what you want's never going to happen. But I don't know
if
why.
You're legitimately like pushing for socialism, you think you're probably retarded anyway. So I mean, like this.
Whoa. The way I've always seen it, and I don't know if like. You see, you know how like back in the feudal days, there were like, you had merchants. That was kind of one of the first instances of people doing like capital investment, right? You would put money into a boat and you just hope that boat goes away and comes back with more money, or more worth of goods. If there were people in those days in a feudalist society saying, you know, the merchant stuff, like, I like that, that's cool. Is that person a capitalist or a feudalist?
I mean, I would probably say a capitalist. Wasn't that like boat shit and everything? Wasn't that kind of like the start of like capitalism? Isn't that where it kind of started, or?
Kind of, yeah. But we never lived in capitalism. And if you asked any of those people, what would a capitalist society look like then? They'd probably have no fucking idea how to tell you, right?
Of course,
they just saw a thing that they like that works. That's not quite the same as feudalism, and yeah, they push for that. I don't know why it can't be the same. I don't know. Yeah, just like have a reasonable policy of something like preferential loans for co-ops or like
right of
first refusal and stuff like that. Yeah,
I think the difference though is that arguably like capitalism, we're not a capitalist planet now because a whole bunch of governments were like, all right, guys, we're going to pass all these policies, we're going to protect all these capitalists, blah, blah, blah. I feel like capitalism is where it's at now is because it survived a form of like evolutionary test where if you want to organize yourselves feudally, if you want to do these things, you can do it, but you're not going to be competitive because capitalism and having private ownership and people being to invest in things and move money around in ways that aren't dictated by the crown or some central authority or anything like that, it's just such a more efficient way of adapting to and solving for problems that exist related to markets around the planet. So like you could have been like anti-capitalist, but capitalism didn't need preferential loans and protections to start up. I think it's the big issue. And in a capitalist system right now, I've said this a million times, if you want to do socialism in the United States, you can basically do it to an extent. Like you can start a co-op. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. You can have all those things. You can do all the profit sharing. You can do mutual aid if you want to start local area. Fuck, I'm pretty sure in the United States, I think you can even go and build your own fucking town if you really want to. Now, obviously that's a big capital investment, but yeah, like that's the issue. But then if you look at like those socialist systems, like they won't even allow for capital. Like, it was so funny. I'm sure you watched it. When Hassan was on H3H, Ethan's show, and they were talking about, Ethan has the way of asking these like really good, profound questions in the dumbest voice. But Ethan's like, what would you do in your system if capitalists started to become like popular? And Hassan's answer was basically, you have to lock them in re-education camps. Like, they can't have a voice. But like in our capitalist system in the United States, people do profit sharing. There are co-ops. Like, I'm pretty sure we have the DSA. Like, you know, they can grow and do their shit now. But I mean, like, they don't get popular because they just don't think the ideas are as effective, I think. But
yeah, but that's why I think, like, I don't know why it wouldn't be so much. I mean, it would be so much easier to just be like, look, I don't know how to exit capitalism per se. Like, I don't even know if that would be a good thing. Maybe it would be worse.
This analysis unfolds as an eloquent ballet of thoughts, exploring the multifaceted layers of Destiny's reflections. The conversation commences with the exchange of a tweet sent by Destiny to Hasanabi, a seemingly innocuous gesture. The banter that ensues reveals the wit and camaraderie of this digital age, reminiscent of the quick exchanges found in classic literature, where characters engage in verbal sparring. As the discourse shifts to the podcast, Destiny, akin to a seasoned commentator, introduces us to Hakim, one of the hosts, whom he labels as a tanky dude. The recognition of Hakim's real-world contributions, despite ideological differences, serves as a testament to Destiny's nuanced perspective. It is a reminder that in the grand mosaic of human thought, each piece plays a unique role, and understanding opposing viewpoints is a hallmark of intellectual maturity. However, Destiny's scrutiny predominantly focuses on Hasanabi and second thought. Like a philosopher dissecting the intricacies of a philosophical treatise, Destiny finds their self-congratulatory tone cringeworthy. He calls into question their contributions to the world, suggesting that they are comfortable with not actively participating in creating change. This observation invites us to ponder the balance between online commentary and tangible real-world impact. The heart of Destiny's analysis lies in the characterization of Hasanabi and second thought as capitalist realists. He aptly references Mark Fisher's concept of the inability to imagine a world beyond capitalism, underscoring the irony of individuals who critique capitalism while thriving within the system. The examination of this paradox offers an intriguing vantage point into the complexity of contemporary political discourse. Furthermore, Destiny delves into the notion that capitalism and liberalism have deftly incorporated and assimilated socialist critiques, blurring the lines between ideologies. He masterfully elucidates the irony of individuals, such as Hasanabi, who profit from anti-capitalist merchandise, a reflection of capitalism's remarkable adaptability. The exploration extends to the differences between American and European socialists, where Destiny contrasts the willingness of UK socialists to work within existing democratic structures with the all-or-nothing approach adopted by American counterparts. This comparison serves as a reflection on the nuanced approach to political advocacy and the importance of practical contributions. In the grand tapestry of political thought, Destiny concludes his analysis by pondering the success of capitalism and liberalism, which have thrived by accommodating diverse ideas. His words unveil the paradox that these systems' adaptability may discourage individuals from embracing more radical ideologies, as they seem content with a system that absorbs critiques and allows for multiple perspectives. In the convoluted labyrinth of contemporary discourse, one finds the echoes of Greek philosophy and Indian mythology, entwined with the complex threads of political ideologies. Destiny, like Socrates in the Agora, engages in digital dialectics, unraveling the intricacies of modern debates. His playful banter with Hasanabi, reminiscent of Shakespearean wordplay, showcases the agility of the modern intellect in the realm of social media. The debate on the Deprogram podcast, like a Shakespearean tragedy, unfolds with elements of comedy and drama. Destiny, the erudite Hamlet of online debates, questions the authenticity of those who engage in armchair activism, highlighting the disparity between their digital grandstanding and real-world contributions. This paradoxical character trait, common in the digital age, evokes the timeless theme of human hypocrisy explored by authors and playwrights for centuries. As Destiny draws parallels between capitalist realism and the assimilation of socialist critiques, he weaves a tapestry of political philosophy, akin to the transcendental ideas found in Eastern thought. The concept of capitalism's ability to co-opt and incorporate critiques into the system reflects the Eastern philosophical principle of yin and yang, where opposing forces coexist and interplay, creating a dynamic equilibrium. The examination of American and European socialist differences mirrors the historical schisms in ancient kingdoms, reminding us of the power of context and societal norms in shaping political ideologies. Destiny's musings on the variety of socialist positions and priorities in the UK and the all-or-nothing approach of American socialists evoke comparisons to different schools of thought in ancient philosophy. In this intellectual odyssey, Destiny navigates the tumultuous sea of political thought, much like the voyages of Odysseus in Homer's epic. The political landscape is filled with siren songs, luring individuals towards ideologies and platforms that may be appealing but ultimately lead to shipwrecked aspirations. Destiny's reflections offer a refreshing blend of classical rhetoric, contemporary insight, and global perspectives, much like a symphony that harmonizes the wisdom of the ages with the immediacy of modern discourse. In a world where digital platforms serve as the agora of our time, Destiny stands as an orator, philosopher, and guide through the intricate maze of ideas. In conclusion, Destiny's reflections on Hasanabi's appearance on the Deprogram podcast offer an intricate tapestry of ideas and ideologies in the digital age. The discourse, like the pages of a classic novel, unfolds with wit, nuance, and intellectual depth, serving as a reminder that in the ever-evolving landscape of political discourse, understanding diverse perspectives is an indispensable element of enlightenment.